See, inside I have put tea light candles, but you can also put in like Hershey's Kisses and other chocolates and whatnot if you want to. The dimensions that I've done are pretty generic. Again, I measured the box designed for the votive candles. Not, excuse me, not the votives. The votives are too tall. The tea light candles. So if you want to adjust the dimensions for that, you can. I'll show you how to do that at the very end. All I did was make a simple card cover for this. It's just like a book. I just added about a little over half an inch around the size of the box. The box's dimensions actually come out to be 3¼ by 4½. So I just added, like I said, the ½ inch. I did a 1¼ inch spine here so it could fold over the box with a little bit of leeway for the ribbon, and then the same size over on this side. And then I just made a tag. This is just an acetate sheet that I stamped on with Stays On ink, which works so awesome, and of course, because it's acetate, you can see clear through it. Okay, so let me get started really quickly. I used my Martha Stewart scoreboard. Okay, and this is what I've done here. I have scored at 1 inch, 2 inches. I scored at 5¼ 6¼ Then I did 9½ and 10½. So that gave me a 1 inch margin on each score here, and then a 1 inch down the center. I flipped it 90 degrees, did the same thing on this edge. 1 inch, score at 2 inches, score at 6½, score at 7½. Now, if you use an 8½ by 11 cardstock, you're gonna lose this outside edge. Okay, so you would only do a 1 inch over on this side. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead, you're gonna fold, and you're gonna score, and you're gonna just bone folder everything. And then what you're gonna do after, oh my gosh, excuse me, what you're gonna do after that is you are going to create your window for your acetate so that you can see into that. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. If you don't have the spellbinders, you don't have to. The only way that I have found to do it is with spellbinders or tracing it and cutting it yourself. And tracing it and cutting it is just not something I can do. So what I have gone ahead and done, here is my Sizzix. I do both of my tabs on my Sizzix. Okay, and then I just put in, the nice thing about spellbinders is you can put them anywhere you want. Put them in there. You can tape them down. You can do whatever you want. It's up to you. Where I've run into the problem is, this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to fold this over. So you're going to get a crease from this from these spellbinders into this paper. There's really not much you can do about that. If you want to do the embossing, then flip it to the actual outside so that you get that embossed look to it. But again, you're still going to have to flip and fold this one over. Okay, so go ahead and do that. It'll fit. It's just a little bit of a tight squeeze to kind of get it fidgeted in there. Okay. Oh, if I do that on there, it's going to rock the camera. So let me do that over here real quick. Okay, so I just run that through really quickly. Like I said, you'll get a little bit of the embossed effect over on that side, but not very much, and it's not that big of a deal because you're really not going to see it because that's going to be on the underside anyhow. Okay, oops. Alright. Once you've gotten that done, you can go ahead and put your acetate or your clear plastic over the top. You can use whatever you like. Michaels has a really cool book. It's just clear craft plastic. I can't say that. And it just comes in sheets, which is really nice. I use this all the time. You can also use the recycled plastics from any of your like Cricut cartridges or anything else like that. Okay, and then all you're going to do is you're going to cut it. This doesn't fit, so I'm going to use another sheet. Cut it down to the size that's going to work. Again, this is 3 1/4 inch by 4 1/2. So I can go ahead on mine and do a little bit shy of 3 1/4 because I don't want it butting up against my score lines. And then again, a little bit shy of 4 1/2 as well. Okay, and that gives me my acetate. And then I am a score tape lover. I probably go through a roll a week because I love it so much. So I score tape down where I want that acetate to be. The nice thing about, since this is going to be the bottom of my, this is the underside of my box, it doesn't matter where I score tape because you're really not going to see it. But what I do want to make sure of is that it kind of gets all the way around my hearts. This one came kind of close to the bottom, so I'm going to put my acetate as close to the bottom as I can once I actually get my score tape off. I'm trying to work as fast as I can, so you'll have to bear with me a little bit. And you know how things go when you're trying to be fast. They never go the way you want them to. Okay, so again, I'm going to put this down as low as I possibly can because I want to make sure I get that gap, but not to where I'm covering my score lines. Okay, make sure I still have my score lines. Alright, so that's my acetate. So there you get that nice, clear, crisp look. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start putting adhesive down and getting my cuts in for my flaps. Like I said, if you're doing an 8 1/2 by 11, this flap will actually be gone. What I like to do, though, for me, is I like to fold that over. So I'm going to make sure that it's a little bit shorter so that I don't bump into my score line. So I'm just going to cut this a little bit short because this is also going to be my flap. Okay, and I know I'm not going to need anything on this outside, so I can cut that away. This is, again, the starting of the construction of the box. There is a couple of different ways that you can put this box together. I am doing it by a tabbed method. I don't want to cut these off. I want to use them as tabs because I want all of the sides of my boxes reinforced with a tab. Okay, I like to have that tab because if you cut it off and all of your boxes have that edge on the corners, I just think it's flimsy and I don't like it as much. Okay, now I'm going to go the opposite way for that tab on this side. I'm going to go up instead of the other way. Sorry, I'm probably doing this off camera. I don't mean to. Okay. And then I can get rid of these edges here on the outside. Okay. Now, one of the first things that I want to do before I do anything else is I want to get some adhesive down on these. And this is where I'm going to put adhesive. I'm going to put adhesive on the back side of here on these guys, and then I'm going to put adhesive here, here, and here. And for that, I will just go ahead and use my handy dandy ATG because that is going to be a strong enough bond for this. You can use score tape on this as well. That's not a problem. But it's not necessary. Oops, that's not going to work right. Go this way. Okay, and again on this outside edge. Now, again, this is folding, so you're going to have to kind of get used to folding things a little bit. I'm going to try and do this as best I can to where you can see it on here. Okay, if you bring this flap to this edge and then fold this up, they will connect. Bring this all the way nice and flat down to the bottom. Bring this up, they will connect there, and then you can just fold this over and fold this over. Okay, I like to go in with my bone folder and put it flat this way. I know you probably can't see that well. And I like to recrease this edge and then go in and kind of crease in that corners using the very point of my tool in here. Okay, and I know it's hard to see because of the angle, sorry. Okay, you do the same thing to this side. Okay, you're gonna push this down here, hold it, and then get that on there, push this down, and then get that on there, and then fold this piece over. Now the reason why I like this technique, again, it's because you get a reinforced corner here. You actually have paper going across this corner, so this is not a flimsy corner. Okay, I like that the best because that really makes your box nice and stiff. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put adhesive over here because I'm going to flip over these edges as well. And since these edges are actually going to fold to the inside of my box, I am going to, oops, excuse me, miter these edges to where they have a little bit of an angle so they're not as dramatic, otherwise they don't fit in the boxes nicely. Okay. Again, crease that down, get it nice and tight. Again, I'm going to miter these edges all the way to the corners. Just give them a nice little bit of an edge. This way, when they actually come together, they don't create a lot of paper on that corners, and they don't bulk it up, and they actually sit in there nicely. Okay. And that's it. Fold those in just like that, and they go to the inside of your box, and they fold down. Oops, missed it. And that's it, you have your box. The nice thing is when you're doing the construction, and this is why I kind of like folding over those edges instead of cutting them off, is this now has 4 pieces of cardstock as thickness. So you've got 4 pieces of cardstock here, 4 pieces of cardstock here. This is going to be your weakest side with your hinge. If you want to go in there with like a chipboard piece or something like that to reinforce that, you can. But these 3 sides are usually enough to hold it. So again, this is going to go inside, and then whoever has your card can open it up just like that. And I usually tie a ribbon around the edge, which you can as well, and I will get that. Ribbon hasn't been my friend today. For some reason, bows have been a nemesis of mine today. But all you're going to do is you're going to fill this up with whatever goodies you want to put in there. Okay, I have candles. I don't have enough right now, but I'll get some more in the morning. Okay, you see what I mean? I designed, again, if you can see it, I designed this box to fit these tea lights just perfectly. They're 3 down and then they're 2 wide. So I gave it a little bit of room because I know Party Light has the plastic instead of these flimsy aluminums, and the plastic is a little bit thicker and it's going to add a little bit more width. And another thing that I also did was when I was designing this, I actually designed it with the hearts. And you can kind of see the heart votive here. And again, this is in a plastic votive shell. Tea light shell, I'm sorry. So that's kind of how I designed it in my head. I'm good with math, so I really didn't do a lot of extensive measuring. Again, it's why I don't have the dimensions for like the card, because I eyeball a lot of it. And you'll find I do that a lot with my videos. I'm sorry.